Yo, what's going on? We got deep DISCOG dive. Madonna by Mike. The snare. Now I've done a bunch of these before. These deep DISCOG dive. Not a bunch actually. I think I've only done like maybe 3. But today will be the 4th. Now we got Madonna. Madonna, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't listen to Madonna at all. I have limited knowledge on Madonna. No. But yeah, I never really cared for a lot of her stuff. It's not like it's bad, but like it's just not. I don't think I can name you like 10 Madonna songs. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. But we got our meal today. Lunchables, pepperoni pizza. Grab your popcorn, grab your Labubu's. Let's go.
An extended version of this video with no ads, longer song samples, and additional thoughts is available on Patreon and Nebula.
No
Links
way.
in the description, and enjoy. Welcome back to the Deep DISCOG Dive. I'm all about branding my personal build, so I'm trying to get my face out to as many places as possible. Literally. You can put this face anywhere you want, any way you want. And to show you how serious I am, here's my face in Madonna's book, Sex. I am a censor.
I don't know if you want that, bro. Anyway, anywhere. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if people are capable of many different Photoshop jobs.
Shit.
I'm just saying.
Today, we're talking about Madonna. Let's dive in.
Hi, I'm Madonna. I said Madonna. Thank you. That's more like it.
August 1958, the Nautilus became the first vessel to travel under the North Pole. Oh wait, wrong script. In Bay City,
What?
Michigan, Madonna Louise Ciccone was born, already joining Prince in the, yes, that's actually their legal first name, club. Despite losing her mother at age 5, Madonna had a relatively normal upbringing, 5 other siblings, Catholic elementary school, and an early interest in dance and music. In contrast to the usual early days of a soon-to-be iconoclast, Madonna excelled in school, both academically and socially. Her discipline led to not only an early graduation from high school in January 1976, but a dance scholarship to the
1976
University
is
of
crazy.
Michigan. However, Madonna was not long for the world of academia or the world of Michigan. In 1978, she dropped out to pursue dance in New York City.
Damn.
Legend has it that Madonna hopped into a cab with $35 in her pocket and told the cab driver to take her to the center of everything. The cab driver then took her to the Buc-ee's in Cypress, Texas. Life for Madonna between
It's
1970
like a fucking movie script. You don't see this shit actually happening in real life.
in her pocket and told the cab driver to take her to the center of everything. The cab driver then took her to the Buc-ee's in Cypress, Texas. Life for Madonna between 1978 and 1982 was a whirlwind of opportunity, and boy did she take advantage of it. She held multiple jobs: hat check girl, elevator operator.
You get fired from Dunkin' Donuts in one day?
No, I think I stayed there for maybe a week.
Were you fired because you squirted jelly over everyone?
I was playing with the jelly squirter machine.
She studied dance with Martha Graham, performed with the Pearl Lang Dance Theater, worked as a backup dancer for Patrick Hernandez for 3 months in Paris. She even dabbled in acting, starring in a low-budget indie flick, though it didn't release any time after shooting Wrapped. Foreshadowing. Now, in terms of music, in 1979, she began dating and working with Dan Gilroy. With him, she joined The Breakfast Club and contributed vocals as well as some drumming and guitar-ing. While The Breakfast Club would go on to score some hits, Madonna left in 1980 for another group, Emmy and the Emmys, with her Michigan boyfriend, Stephen Bray. This group did record a demo in November 1980, but Madonna left that group soon after to become a solo artist. By 1982, Madonna had worked with Stephen on some solo demos that swerved hard from the rock music of her past 2 bands and more towards the hot new sound of the early 80s. Disco. After hitting the pavement for a bit, pitching her music to various clubs and DJs, she connected with DJ Mark Kammins at Danceteria. Mark was impressed, and he introduced Madonna to Sire Records president Seymour Stein. in a hospital. Yeah, at this time, Seymour had just had a heart surgery, but that didn't stop him from signing Madonna to a 3-single contract with an option.
Hey, that's fucking dedication, bro. Hey, that's dedication.
For a whole ass album. Also, if Seymour Stein sounds familiar to you, it might be because he also signed Talking Heads. And you may find yourself shooting jelly in a Dunkin' Donuts. The 3 singles Madonna released as part of her Sire contract all did quite well, especially the first one, Everybody. Madonna carried this momentum into Sigma Sound Studios with Reggie Lucas as producer.
Sigma
Reggie was previously most known for playing guitar during Miles Davis's Electric era. Upon the album's completion, Madonna didn't really care for the final sound with Lucas, but they made it work by Reggie leaving and Madonna bringing in DJ John Jelly Bean Benitez to record 3 of the songs. In July 1983,
Jelly Bean Benitez?
Madonna released her self-titled debut album. There's a lot of pride to take in nailing your
sorry,
first
I'm
album. It's a
I'm
first
really
impression with
building
someone.
these
Are you
pizzas, man.
smiling
I'm
when you
sorry.
meet them? Is your handshake good? Do you start with the song Lucky Star? In this case, Madonna's smile is radiant, her handshake is firm, and her first words are, I mentioned before that Madonna's solo work was heavily influenced by disco, but this album sits at a unique place in time. The disco influence is certainly there, but there's also a good dollop of new wave, R&B. It's an album that really only could have been made at this time. Of course, that made promoting it a bit tricky for Sire's parent label, Warner. At first, they tried to push her on black radio with single artwork like this. And I'll admit, this looks cool, but it is not the image I think of when I hear Madonna. Speaking of which, if you've not heard Madonna sing before, how? But I'd guess you wouldn't expect this person to have this exact voice. It's feminine without being high-pitched, delicate but with a little rasp. But regardless of what adjectives you call it, the most important thing about self-titled is that it makes you dance. It is loaded with tracks primed and ready for sweaty nights on the dance floor. Lucky Star with its mini moog bass and nursery rhyme reference. Wow, they were even pulling from nursery rhymes back then. Borderline with its wistful synth and gospel choir. Burning Up with its lead guitar and sax. Think of Me, which is perfect for soundtracking your next Think of Me Thursday. There's something about Madonna self-titled that's almost juvenile, and not in like a bad way or a childish way. I mean more that this album doesn't really present the themes that would become very prevalent in Madonna's work. It's like going back to Hannah Montana, knowing where Miley Cyrus would go. And after listening to Self-Titled, it would be very clear that Madonna would go on to do great things. It's a simple distillation of what makes Madonna work. Madonna's first album had a slow climb up the charts, but rest assured, it climbed. The album would peak at number 8 in October 1984, and its singles would all enjoy remarkable success as well.
Not too
Specifically,
shabby.
Holiday, which would peak at number 16 in January 1984. It seemed like the only person who wasn't happy with the self-titled album was Madonna. She wasn't a fan of how it sounded with Reggie Lucas and Jelly Bean behind the board.
What do you hope will happen not only in 1984, but for the rest of your professional life? What are your dreams? What's left?
To rule the world.
There you go.
To collab with Playboy
When it came time for
Cardi.
her second album, Madonna told Warner that she wanted to produce it herself. No, Madonna was not a fan of this decision. She went as far as to publicly bemoan the hierarchy of old men who kept her from producing. After some time, Warner offered a compromise. Someone else had to produce, but Madonna could choose that someone else. And so, Madonna chose Nile Rodgers, frontman of the funk band Chic and producer for David Bowie's Let's Dance, one of Madonna's favorite albums. Recording for the second album happened at Power Station in spring 1984, with Stephen Bray joining to write some songs. At this point, he and Madonna were not dating, but still collaborating. As opposed to the mostly synthetic sound of the self-titled album, this new album had way more of a live band presence. Lead engineer Jason Corsaro called it, quote, the first dance pop record to have a real rock drum sound, end quote. Niall had even brought in some of his Chic mates, like Tony Thompson and Bernard Edwards. I should also say, and this will apply for all of the albums going forward, but Madonna was very hands-on in the making of this record. My favorite anecdote from this time is that Madonna's manager wanted more bass on the album so that it would sound more like Thriller. So she took the tape and wrote bass up on it and then just
That's
gave it to
actually
him.
really funny.
Madonna would have made a great sound engineer. No one could ever fault Madonna for not giving her all when it comes to making music or performing it, which leads me to the first true milestone in Madonna's career. While this new album would not release until late 1984, Madonna did premiere its title track at the very first MTV VMAs in September, a song called Like a Virgin. And this is where I should say, every so often, you might get the impression that Madonna's songs occasionally allude to topics related to sex. The setup for this performance makes sense. The song is called Like a Virgin. Madonna is dressed on top of wedding cake. Checks out. It's what Madonna does with that setup that makes this a defining performance. She kicks off her shoes. She throws off her headdress. She rolls around on the floor. She... Oh, indeed. Remember, this performance was in 1984. Whoa. Female pop stars did not do this, and if they got anywhere close, they were culturally crucified. And at the time, some thought Madonna was done for after this. Her manager thought that this was the end of her career, and Annie Lennox said the performance was very...
That is so funny compared to... It's just so funny, like, just compared to now.
Very whorish, and it was like she was f***ing the music industry. However, there was something incredibly captivating about this performance. It's literally just Madonna on stage, no other dancers or musicians. It was the clearest showcase of the thematic ethos that would define her going forward. Yes, this is clearly about...
Bro, if you pulled up, what was it, 1982 or 6? I forgot. If you pulled up to this year and you showed them WAP, it's over, bro. The universe would have exploded, like America, like would have died, like it all would have been over, bro.
Owning it. And
like GG's.
finding power through that ownership. So while older folks and parents thought this was abhorrent, the young people ate that shit up. In November 1984, Madonna released Like a Virgin. What if, and I'm asking for a friend, I didn't care for this album as much as everyone else did? Again, I'm just asking.
Yeah, you'd be fine, bro.
About
I
my
haven't
own
listened to
opinion.
that, so
I mean, let's give this
I ain't
album its
gonna tell you.
dues. It has two of Madonna's all-time greatest songs. The opener, Material Girl, is not only playful satire, but also solid
song.
gold pop craftsmanship. The other classic is, of course, the title track. Much like how
Obviously.
Billie Jean is the song I'd play for someone so that they could get Michael Jackson, this is the song I'd play someone so they could get Madonna. A song all about the joys of discovering a new love as a woman, written by two men.
Yeah.
SpongeBob? There's good to be found in the rest of the songs for sure. Madonna's great performances on Love Don't Live Here Anymore and Shooby-Doo, the overlapping vocal parts on the closer Stay, but to me, it's really those two singles that do the heavy lifting. Again, for me, even though I'm asking for a friend. Now, I may have my own feelings about Like a Virgin, the album, but I should also say, none of them matter. Like a Virgin is a seminal album, not just in Madonna's career, not just in 80s pop music, but in pop music at large. The same way pop is irrevocably changed if you take out Thriller or Purple Rain, Like a Virgin helped chart a course for what pop music sounds like and how it's presented. So I feel okay saying I think it's just fine because that does literally nothing to harm its exceptional historical standing. Oh, what's that? You think Pet Sounds is overrated? Should I call the press? Should I call a tribunal?
I actually did listen to that album. It was good. But I wouldn't say it's like one of the greatest albums of all time. You know?
First album, Slow Rise.
Is that a crazy take? I don't know.
Needed a month.
I thought it was
Madonna's
good, but
first #1 hit, and the album
nothing
only needed
too
3
crazy
months to top the charts. Madonna mania was truly settling in, and not just because of her music. For one, her fashion. I don't feel like I'm the right person to speak on this, since my fashion boils down to black shirt, but her fashion sense was dazzling, and it became an inspiration for young girls in the 80s.
Can't relate.
Privilege looking like her.
She also got started in movies. Her first on-screen appearance in a major movie was a brief cameo in Vision Quest in February 1985. She sings 2 songs in a bar. It's great. Her second film appearance followed a month after, a major part in Desperately Seeking Susan. This movie is about a bored housewife who just really wants to be Madonna, so she follows her around until she gets amnesia and starts thinking that she is Susan. Hijinks and Susan, if you know what I mean. It's a good time, and Madonna is good in it too. She also contributed a song from the Like a Virgin sessions, Into the Groove.
Yeah,
Really
heard this
good
one.
song. But
Yeah,
alas,
that's good.
there was one more film with Madonna released in 1985. Remember that low-budget flick I mentioned back when she first moved to NYC? Seeking to capitalize on her capital rise, A Certain Sacrifice was released in October. It's not really special aside from Madonna's involvement and the terrible sound mixing. If you watch it and can hear any of the words, maybe an adverb or even a preposition, let me know. Madonna promoted Like a Virgin with her first tour from April to June 1985. It was during this tour when she met Patrick Leonard, who became a crucial figure in the making of her third album. That album was recorded in late 1985 and early 1986 in LA, with Madonna, Patrick, and Stephen Bray working together as co-writers and co-producers.
What the fuck is that? We're just gonna like skip over this? What is this?
Madonna finally got to produce
Oh,
on
that-
her own album,
alright.
even if it was
I was gonna
as
say,
co-producer.
like, bro,
In June
whoa, we're just gonna, like,
1986,
skip over this?
Madonna released
Yo,
True
hello?
Blue. And here's a clue. It fits me like a shoe. This is, in my sick and twisted mind, the first great Madonna album. It's bursting with life and energy and love. Madonna was in a great place when she made this album. For one thing, she was married. So I haven't told you everything about the lead up to True Blue. The most crucial part of its making happened way back in January 1985 on the set of the Material Girl video. There, she met actor Sean Penn. Within a month, they had started dating, and on her birthday in August, they had gotten married. So True Blue effectively captures
Damn.
Madonna's headspace following her marriage. And it's frankly arresting. I adore the opener Papa Don't Preach, not only for its complicated subject matter as a girl tells her father she's keeping a baby out of wedlock, but for Madonna's grittier vocals. Those same vocals come out hard on bangers like White Heat, Where's the Party, Open Your Heart. Live to Tell actually floored me the first time I heard it. Something about the way the lingering chimes trade parts with those plucked synths and the excellent build on the choruses made me like, it's not all synth pop though. There are songs here that incorporate a strong Latin influence, Closer, Love Makes the World Go Round, and the mega hit La Isla Bonita. You know this was written for Michael Jackson? He didn't do it, of course.
Damn.
He was too busy with his ukulele album. Madonna also brings out a full-on Motown homage with the title track, a song dedicated to her new hubby. Man, it must be great being in a relationship with Sean Penn.
I can guess it probably wasn't a great thing to be.
It's weird to say Madonna leveled
Probably-
up the
probably
huge
not.
success of Like a Virgin, but
Probably
I think
not a
True
great
Blue
decision there.
Showed that Madonna was truly legit. Anyone can have a hit, but this album showed that under the
Anyone? I can have a
provocation
hit?
and explicitness.
Shit,
there
should we
was
just write a
stellar
song? Wait, should I just write a song and like become like a fucking pop star?
True Blue was another smash success for Madonna. It would go on to be the best-selling album of 1986 and her best-selling standalone album ever. Madonna was truly on top of the world, and her relationship with Sean Penn had provided ample creative fodder, and not just with music. In fact, 2 months after True Blue, Madonna and Sean Penn starred in a movie together. Shanghai Surprise. Oh, it fucking sucks. This is the best
Oh,
time to
damn.
tell you that Madonna's film career is hit or miss, not just for her choice of films, but for her own performances as well. The general rule of thumb is the closer the role is to her in real life, the better she performs. And the farther away it is, the worse she performs. In this instance, Madonna plays a Christian missionary.
Guns cause pain.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, right? Like, if I was told to act, and it was like, okay, you're gonna act, but you're gonna be like yourself almost. Well, no shit, you can do that because you are yourself. You know yourself, right? But like, if they're telling you to do something that's completely not yourself, obviously you're gonna be worse. Like, no shit. I feel like that's like everybody, unless like, no, that's everybody.
Sean Penn's scumbag sleazeball has to help her find a load of opium nicknamed Faraday's flowers.
Opium?
Events transpire and
Opium? Is that foreshadowing?
actions are taken.
Swayze, at this very moment, tens of thousands of courageous soldiers are suffering agonizing pain.
The film tries to play on Sean and Madonna's real-life relationship, and some of their scenes together are just scandalous. Like, are you seeing this right now? Children, please turn your eyes away.
You know, I could have stayed home in Brookline, Massachusetts.
Oh shoot, Brookline, Massachusetts? Why is there mariachi music? Forgive me. The movie is just boring. Sean's not great. Madonna's not great. She doesn't even do any songs for the soundtrack. You know who is on the soundtrack?
What a waste.
George Harrison. His production company was behind this movie. His songs are fine. Baseball PNG technology. Shanghai Surprise flopped hard upon its release, but it would not deter Madonna from working in film. Trust me, I'm gonna keep bringing up Madonna movies as we go on. Madonna is similar to Taylor Swift in this way. She has an incredible collection of albums, an indisputable catalog of hits, and a film career. In fact, we're not done with films of this time yet. You may have noticed that I didn't mention any tour for True Blue, and that's because it wouldn't start until June 1987. The Who's That Girl tour. If you're wondering where they got that name, it comes from the film of the same name and its soundtrack, which released in July 1987. This one is actually pretty easy to talk about. It's a direct continuation of what Madonna was doing on True Blue, a bit of Latin flair on the excellent title track, and a flat-out banger with Causing a Commotion. Her other two songs are fine as well, though you might be a little confused when I say her other two songs. Who's That Girl is a bonus because she only has 4 songs on the track list. The rest of the songs are from other folks, and they're all fine. But this ain't no screedy palidi ddd, so I'm moving on. I guess I'll touch on the film too, which came out a month after the soundtrack. It's a screwball comedy where Madonna, adorned with a thick Long Island accent, has to work with Griffin Dunn to clear her name for a murder she didn't commit. It's a super goofy movie, and it's fun. There were
Goofy
a couple
movie?
of jokes that got me pretty good.
Officer, thank God you found us. See, my husband's having a heart attack and we gotta get him to the hospital. Is this the way?
Check out the soundtrack for its first 2 songs, check out the movie for Madonna's accent, and check out Farouj Abu Al Abed in Dublin, Ohio for the best barbecue.
What?
Who's That Girl bombed hard at the box office, but it doesn't matter
God
because we
damn
were
it.
talking about a tour. The Who's That Girl tour was a huge success. At the time, one of the highest attended tours ever, and it wrapped in September 1987. Madonna was still, by all accounts, the biggest female musician in the world, but some holes in the armor were starting to show. For one, she was bummed about Who's That Girl flopping and its negative reviews of her performance. She turned to Broadway in 1988 for a production
I just realized the
Speed
screen's
the
low-key
Clown,
like-
but that also earned her poor reviews. It was also in 1988 that she turned 30, meaning she outlived her mother, and that brought on a whole lot of feelings. What also did not help around this time was her relationship with Sean Penn. Sean Penn
What'd he do?
was, to put it simply, a dick. Not just in his
Ah.
movies, his brash attitude and difficulty working with others is credited with ruining what Shanghai Surprise could have been, but also in his relationship with Madonna. I won't go into all the details about their marriage, but I will say they divorced in January 1989. This was a turning point in Madonna's career and life. After achieving so much success with her past 3 albums, and after going through so much emotionally, she decided to create something personal. Something that touched on her marital woes, her Christian upbringing, and who she truly was. And when I'm revealing who I truly am, I like to do it with a nice bottle of Pepsi. In early 1989, Madonna locked in with Pepsi for a $5 million endorsement contract. Not dissimilar to the deal
Coke
Michael
is
did with
better.
Pepsi earlier in the decade. Pepsi would be a tour sponsor
Bro,
for Madonna.
if you
and
all right,
also help-
seriously, when someone gives you a choice between Pepsi and Coke, are you actually taking Pepsi? Like, there's no way like there's people out there like genuinely like taking like Pepsi, right? Like surely not.
Promote her next single. First with a commercial on The Cosby Show, Oof, and then with its music video premiere on MTV in March 1989. All right, let's see. Burning Crosses, Wounds That Resemble Jesus' Crucifixion, Madonna Kissing a Saint Come to Life, and Pepsi Is Gone. The same month as that kerfuffle, Madonna released Like a Prayer, the second in her Leica series. What's next? Leica G6? Perhaps if Pepsi had just considered that the title track slapped hard, then they wouldn't have left their deal in such a hurry. If they had simply heard the gospel choir and that hook, maybe their name would be Slapsy. Speaking of slappers, Express Yourself, front to back banger. Not just for its excellent hook, but for how it frames romance as something that deserves dialogue and open communication. Don't forget this Metropolis-inspired music video, one of the most expensive of its time, and directed by David Fincher. By the way, is it fair to call Steven and Patrick her main collaborators at this point? Like how Michael had Quincy? They've worked with her now on 3 albums, same amount as MJ and Q. Sadly, this would be Steven's last stop on the Madonna train, and Patrick would continue with her only occasionally into the 1990s. We've got a 4th producer here too, Prince, our boy. He and Madonna had a fairly close relationship, and he's on.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Guitar
actually,
work on a few songs, and Love Song is an outright duet with Madonna. Other highlights include "Oh Father" and "Till Death Do Us Part," but I gotta single out the closer, "Act of Contrition," for how strange it is. Madonna doing spoken word over what sounds like a prayer in reverse. It reminds me of a Prince song, though I don't know if I'll have it on my computer.
What do you mean it's not in the computer?
Ah, sorry. Like a Prayer was like another massive hit for Madonna. Charts top.
Oh shit.
Fans bountiful. Conservatives pissed. A tour for the album would happen, though not for about 2 years.
That's how you know it's a good album.
The years in between saw Madonna return to the big screen. First up was November 1989's Bloodhounds of Broadway. It's fine. Madonna is fine. The song she does with Jennifer Grey is fine.
Doesn't take a Dick Tracy to figure it out.
No, but it does take a Dick Tracy to make a Dick Tracy movie. Her next part during this era was that of Breathless Mahoney in the 1990 Dick Tracy adaptation. And in tandem, she released
little
the
Mahoney
soundtrack in May of that year. I'm Breathless, and I'm Mike. One outright highlight is Sooner or Later, which was penned by Stephen Sondheim. Madonna sounds great on it too. I would love it if she did more Broadway-esque stuff like this. Across the rest of I'm Breathless, Madonna adapts her sound at that time to weave in some big Tracy energy. Some more Latin flair on I'm Going Bananas, sultry vibes on He's a Man, some dum-dums on Back in Business. Warren Beatty shows up to duet on Now I'm Following You Part 1, and Now I'm Following You Part 2 is like Madonna's take on a bat dance type song. All right, how are we gonna close this one out? Okay. I guess this album ends with Vogue, one of Madonna's best songs and a passionate homage to the New York City gay club scene of the time. What the hell is it doing on here? I mean, I know it was released earlier in the year, so it's not like this was written specifically for Dick Tracy, but how in the hell did they tie Vogue in with, and I don't mean this in a bad way, this incredibly heterosexual movie? This would be like if Muna did a song for the next Fast and Furious movie, or the inverse would be like if RuPaul's Drag Race got a new theme song by Morgan Wallen. Anyway, yes, Vogue is a stellar song. Something about the piano and the chorus makes me want to headbang like a feral beast. Let me spare a word for the movie itself, released in June 1990. It was directed by and starring Warren Beatty, who was also dating Madonna at the time. There's a lot of famous people, a lot of split diopter shots. Every bad guy looks disgusting, especially Al Pacino, who actually got an Oscar nomination for his work here. I must also say, this film has some really beautiful art direction. I'd honestly recommend you watch it solely for that. Oh yeah, and Madonna's fine in it too. Sooner or Later would go on to win an Oscar, and Vogue became one of Madonna's biggest hits, but the rest of I'm Breathless was deemed okay. The Dick Tracy movie did well though, both critically and commercially. Look, there was Madonna at the 1991 Oscars, with Michael Jackson as her date. In case you're curious, Madonna and MJ were friendly. They did try to collaborate a couple of times, but yeah, nothing came to pass. A month before I'm Breathless released, Madonna kicked off the Blonde Ambition Tour. In many ways, this was the definitive Madonna tour. pop classics, sexual innuendo, religious folks pissed to high hell, everything you could want. Shortly after the tour wrapped, we got her first greatest hits album, The Immaculate Collection. 15 all-out bangers plus 2 new songs, Justify My Love and Rescue Me. The latter is effectively Vogue's cousin, and the former, co-written by Lenny Kravitz, is sensual, mixing together hip-hop and spoken word. It's a remarkable forebearer of what's to come, but I'll touch on that when what's to come has come. Now, if you're like me and you couldn't attend the Blonde
What do you mean by
Ambition
that?
Tour because you didn't exist, no worries. The Blonde Ambition Tour was captured in the May 1991 concert film Truth or Dare. Now, I'll preface what I'm about to say with this. I've never met Madonna. I could never claim to know who she is as a person. But Truth or Dare is probably the best document of who Madonna the artist was at this time. That is to say, a brilliant performer, a savvy understander of all things show business, a seeker of attention.
She doesn't want to live off camera, much less talk.
I think that's what it is.
There's nothing to say off camera. Why would you say something if it's off camera?
And at times,
Really well rested.
a child. The standout scene is when Madonna goes to a party hosted by Pedro Almodovar in order to seduce Antonio Banderas. Keep in mind, Madonna was still dating Warren Beatty, and Antonio was married. I'm shocked this made it into the final cut.
Jesus.
Truth or Dare was revered at the time, not just for a glimpse into Madonna's world, but also for shining a spotlight on many of her dancers and for showing gay people as they were at a time when the general public really didn't like gay people as they were. Of course, not everyone.
Are you serious?
Madonna earned one of many Razzie nominations for Worst Actress.
Jesus,
that
damn.
just feels low. How are you gonna get a Worst Actress award for playing yourself?
That is
Speaking of
crazy.
films, she was in 2 more between I'm Breathless and her next main studio album. Later in 1991, she was in Woody Allen's Shadows and Fog. Here's the Wikipedia page for it. Am I the only one who's surprised at a Woody Allen movie having that small of a wiki page? And in July 1992,
I think I might
she
have a bigger
starred
wiki
in
page than
League
that.
Of their own
Nah, I
with
don't. I
Gina
don't even have a
Davis
wiki page.
and Tom Hanks.
Somebody make me a
I
wiki
have never
page.
actually seen this movie before working on this video, and it's real good. Madonna is fine. She dances real good in one scene. She tries to kill a boy on a bus with a bat. He survives, but then Tom Hanks throws a baseball glove at him. She also provided a song for the end credits, This Used to Be My Playground. By this point in the 90s, the world around Madonna was changing fast.
All right, then.
Hip-hop was rising as a dominant force in pop culture, and the same folks who disapproved of Madonna sure as hell didn't take well to Dr. Dre and Wu-Tang. Plus, the AIDS crisis was ravaging the gay community, and politicians weren't doing anything to stop it. So in response, Madonna toned down her approach to try to— I'm kidding, she doubled down so hard. In October 1992, Madonna released Erotica. This was yet another step up for Madonna, though not just with the music. For one, this was her first release through her own entertainment company, Maverick, a company that handled music, films,
Logan
books,
Paul?
put a pin in that one, and TV. And while it's easy to wave away side endeavors of musicians, it should be noted that Maverick did a lot of good stuff. For example, they released albums by Alanis Morissette, Deftones, Muse, Michelle Branch. They
Damn.
even released the Matrix soundtrack. Erotica also saw Shep Pettibone, who previously produced Vogue, behind the board for the whole album. In turn, the sound of Erotica has that 90s dance sheen all over it. Hip-hop and techno and new jack swing all converging. Madonna also played around more with her vocals. There's singing, of course, but a lot more spoken word too, continuing from Justify My Love. It really reminds me of Prince and Michael's early 90s work. This is her Diamonds and Pearls, her Dangerous. That similarity is especially clear on the opening title track, with the most out-of-nowhere sample of Jungle Boogie I've ever heard. Other songs like Fever, Thief of Hearts, and Deeper pulse with that same energy too. It's not all sex though. Madonna still allows room for vulnerability. In This Life is dedicated to a friend who had died to AIDS, and Bad Girl details a woman's self-destructive spiral. Shout out to the music video featuring Christopher Walken. If there's anything I can say against Erotica, it's that this is the first Madonna album that feels like it's trying to be sexy. Which, hey, I understand it's part of the concept, but past albums felt effortless in their confidence. With Erotica, I can feel the effort, not just in being sexy, but in provoking you. It's a subtly antagonistic album, and at times I feel that provocation comes at the expense of the music. I can't tell you that I love it, but I think it's cool that it even exists.
Bedtime
Erotica
stories
was polarizing at the time, in a way that past Madonna albums weren't. I mean, I get that Erotica was a little more explicit on the surface, but the level of backlash it got was surprising. Why? Well, here's one reason. Along with the album, Madonna released a book called Sex. It's a coffee table book comprised of short poems and art pieces about sex, along with a whole lot of photos that I flat out cannot show you. Even by today's standards, this book is a lot. Quick tangent,
really?
by the way. Doing this video has really made me unsympathetic
How bad could it
towards
be?
anyone who is scandalized by modern pop stars like Sabrina Carpenter. Oh, she posed like a dog for her most recent album cover? That's cool. Here's a fully nude Madonna miming sex with Vanilla Ice. Also, Madonna dated Vanilla Ice. It did sell out super quick, but the sex book escalated Erotica from another Madonna press cycle to something on a whole new level. She even admitted that the book took away from the album's release. What also didn't help was the release soon after of Body of Evidence, a film starring Madonna and Willem Dafoe, and just a blatant ripoff of Basic Instinct. Reviews were not kind, and the film bombed hard. And as if all that wasn't enough, Madonna kicked off the Girly Tour in September 1993. I didn't mention this earlier, but the Erotica album saw Madonna put on a persona, a dominatrix named Mistress Dita. The Girly Tour saw Madonna step into Dita on stage, along with an entire sex circus aesthetic. Like the sex book, it's a lot. Oh, and one last little piece de resistance. Madonna was in another erotic thriller in late 1993. Dangerous Game, with Harvey Keitel looking like Tommy Wiseau. This one released straight to video. I think it's more interesting than Body of Evidence with how it tells its story, but it's still nothing incredible. Though it did give us the great line,
"Because I need these things! I need these things!"
All right, one last attempt at appealing to the public. In March 1994, Madonna went on Letterman. Let's see what happens when Madonna is free to just speak casually.
You realize this is being broadcast, don't you? Yeah. Did you have jobs like that when you were a kid? Did you work in grocery stores, bagging groceries, any of that?
No.
Who's the one guy who was like, she's lying, she worked at Dunks? All of these things converging over the past 2 years led a whole lot of folks to just feel sick of Madonna. They may have still been clutching their pearls, but they were more annoyed at how tired their hand was getting. And in the end, Erotica still went multi-platinum, but became Madonna's worst-selling album at the time. Shock factor was a tool that Madonna wielded better than basically anybody, but by the mid-90s, shocking people on its own wasn't that special. Other artists were doing it. Other forms of media were doing it. So Madonna decided to scale back on the sex and show folks a gentler side. First with the ballad I'll Remember from the movie With Honors, then by poking fun with Letterman at the '94 VMAs, and finally with the release of her 6th studio album, Bedtime Stories, in October 1994. This one was sonically a continuation of Erotica, but more focused on softer production and new jack swing. Pettibone was out, and in his place were folks like Babyface and Dallas Austin, big names in R&B at the time. Songs like Human Nature, Survival, and I'd Rather Be Your Lover sound like they'd be just at home with singers like D'Angelo or TLC, which makes it all the more interesting to hear Madonna over them. Someone who has a great and distinct voice, but one that isn't necessarily suited for full-on R&B. Would it be a stretch if I called this her Young Americans? Would anyone hate me if I said that? The absolute highlights for me are the title, sorry, not the title track, I hate it when albums have songs that should in theory be the title track but are named slightly different. Anyway, Bedtime Story is produced by Nellie Hooper and co-written by Björk, our girl. It's a swirling Eurodance bop. I wish more songs on here sounded like it. Wild ass music video too. And then the closer, Take a Bow. Probably the defining ballad of Madonna's career and a great way to close out the album. What's most fascinating about Bedtime Stories is that it seems on the surface like it's an apology for erotica, and yet when you listen,
sorry,
it's really not. If anything, it's an interesting companion to Erotica, an album that is still largely about love and intimacy, but approaches these themes in a completely different way. Very interesting album.
That video.
Critics were much kinder to Bedtime Stories compared to Erotica, and it sold a wee bit better too. Madonna's soft rebrand was mostly successful. It was also aided by a full-on compilation of ballads in late 1995, just to hammer the point home even further. Speaking of late 1995, let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves In December 1995, Madonna had a bit part in 4 Rooms. Movie is meh, Tim Roth as a bellhop is funny. Then in March 1996, she had another bit part in Spike Lee's Girl 6, and lastly, for now, her big starring role in December 1996's Evita, an adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's musical with Madonna, Jonathan Pryce, and that guy Madonna tried to seduce in Truth or Dare. Many consider this to be Madonna's best film performance, and she put her all into it, despite getting sick multiple times and finding out she was pregnant. Also helped that Evita is basically a full-length music video, so Madonna was right at home. Reviews at the time were mixed, but Madonna was praised, the box office poll was big, and it was nominated for several awards. If there's anything negative to say about Evita, it's that it was the reason why we didn't get a tour for Bedtime Stories. This was a period of real change for Madonna. Her acting was being praised on a level not seen since Desperately Seeking Susan. The controversy around Erotica had basically subsided, and she was a mother. She gave birth to her daughter
WPR,
in October 1996. And as the cherry on top of this new personality sundae, she began speaking more openly about spirituality, specifically the Jewish mythical tradition known as Kabbalah. This new emphasis on spirituality and deeper meaning carried into the making of her next album. While Babyface was involved again at the start, Madonna decided to find a new producer in order to truly break sonic ground. And soon enough, she was introduced to William Orbit. What's next? Jonathan Gravity? In contrast to Babyface, Mr. Orbit's production was way more
Mr. Orbit. Mr. Orbit is a crazy name.
He and Madonna spent basically the entire latter half of 1997 in LA recording a new album. And in February 1998, we got Ray of Light. Remember how I said I would have loved an album with songs like Bedtime Story? I love it when things exist. Ray of Light is Madonna fully taking on the sounds of trip-hop and late 90s techno. Plus, where Bedtime Story was more subdued, Ray of Light is bouncy and radiant and just full of life. Just listen to the title track. It really puts me in my Peter Griffin feeling.
I was just about to say, that's the fucking Peter Griffin.
Songs like Sky Fits Heaven, Little Star, and the opener, Drowned World, Substitute for Love. Even in quieter moments, it finds ways to grip you. Nothing Really Matters is hypnotic. I love the descending piano part right before the final chorus. Frozen is also hypnotic with its lush strings and cascading percussion. Here's a fun fact.
That video's
song
cool.
was banned in Belgium from 2005 to 2014 due to a plagiarism accusation. Imagine what Belgium could have been today had it not been banned. I do also need to make special mention of the closer Myrrh Girl, a drumless meditation where Madonna reckons with mortality. Easily the most interesting closer since she yelled at me back on Like a Prayer. Oh, shoot, that's it? What? Oh yeah, that's right. I filmed my first time listening to Ray of Light. The full reaction is over on Patreon and Nebula, if you're interested. Links in the description.
If you're interested, guys.
I was especially interested to see if
Go
Ray
support.
of Light met the hype. And it did. It's the perfect album to cap off Madonna's 1990s and her growth as an artist this decade. It's excellent. Ray of Light was a landmark success for Madonna. Insane sales around the world, the greatest critical reception she had ever seen, and even a couple Grammys after getting snubbed for most of the 80s and 90s. Madonna was truly in a completely new phase of her music career.
Wow.
Now her film career, on the other hand, well, I should say, in 1999, she provided the song Beautiful Stranger to Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me. You'd think the song would be stupid given the context,
The
but it's
Spy
actually
Who
quite
Shagged Me?
good. Even won Madonna another Grammy.
Great.
Then, in March 2000, she starred opposite Rupert Everett in the rom-com The Next Best Thing.
It's not gonna work this time.
What's not gonna work?
Why is she looking at me?
Fantastic body.
It's not good, but she did contribute to the soundtrack with an okay cover of American Pie. But back to music. Madonna did plan to tour for Ray of Light, but those plans were halted so that she could star in The Next Best Thing and focus on motherhood. And I don't mean just Lourdes. In March 2000, she confirmed she was pregnant with another child.
Damn.
The father this time was British director Guy Ritchie. Work soon began on a new album after American Pie released. Much like the early 1990s, Madonna was at another sonic inflection point. The sound of pop music belonged to folks like Britney Spears and NSYNC, and the dance music of Europe was gaining more and more momentum. William Orbit came back to work on a few songs.
Mr.
and
Orbit.
Mark Spike Stent joined as well. I feel like I mentioned Mark in so many of these videos, like he's the secret master puppeteer of the DDD. But the biggest contributor on this new album was French DJ Mirwais. Watch this. Mirwais. Mirwais. My Wife. Sacha Baron Cohen music video for lead single, I'm a Genius. In September 2000, Madonna made music. What were the past 7 albums then? What makes music interesting is what'll make every Madonna album from here on out interesting. In my mind, Ray of Light was enough of a breaking away from conventional pop music that it could have established the Madonna roadmap going forward. She could continue carving her own lane away from the newcomers and stay revered as a pop icon. But what we'll see in the next 2 decades is Madonna keeping one foot firmly in the pop zeitgeist, bringing in the sounds of the time. In the case of music, that means stuttering electro beats, squelching bass lines, and even a little bit of yeehaw. All those are exemplified on the opening title track, one of the most propulsive songs Madonna's ever done. Other songs carry those elements forward, like Impressive Instant, Don't Tell Me, and Amazing. But honestly, my all-time favorite song on this album is What It Feels Like for a Girl. I love the subtly bouncy beat and the chorus melody. Also, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, they did this song in the Madonna episode of Glee, and the arrangement was
Yo,
really
I
good.
was.
And you know
Was
what else?
Glee actually like a big deal? Like people like. It was kind of a interesting frame to be on, but was Glee like actually like how big was Glee? Because I wasn't old enough to really like understand the impact. Like how big like actually was Glee?
Good music. Can't believe Pitchfork gave it a 6.8. Music's reception was quite positive across the board. It sold a little less than Ray of Light, but hey, we're still talking 11 million copies worldwide.
Damn.
Later in 2000, she properly married Guy Ritchie, and in 2001, she was out on the road. The Drowned World Tour, which combined both Ray of Light and music into a cyberpunk cowboy hoedown. This tour ran from June to September 2001. And
wait a minute.
Speaking of September 2001, this might feel a little out of place, but trust me, this is gonna matter. 9/11 was, of course, a massive event. It would go on to impact several musicians' eventual work, as well as all of American culture. Madonna had been living a much calmer life compared to her provocative 90s, now with Guy Ritchie and 2 children of her own. But the general mood in America after 9/11 had her questioning the state of things, the value of material goods, and the vanity of Hollywood. Wait though, speaking of Hollywood, she was in 2 movies before this next album. In October 2002, she starred in her husband's movie, Swept Away. It's a remake of an Italian film where a man and woman are stranded on an island and fall in love. In this new movie, they're both deeply repugnant people. He abuses her a bunch. It might actually be the worst movie she's ever been in. She also had a brief cameo in November 2002's Die Another Day, and she even did the intro theme song. It's fine. Now, before we get into American Life, released in April 2003, I should tell you a story that sets the stage for where it sits in Madonna's history. In March 2003, the music video for its title track was going to release. It was, and is a daring production, especially considering that the US's invasion of Iraq happened the same month. Loads of war imagery, some of it genuinely upsetting. Even for Madonna, releasing it would have been a bold move. But she didn't. For the first time in her career, she decided to step down and not release something controversial.
Am I the only one who's a little disappointed?
Or, sorry, let me explain. I think this, or I mean an event like this, Madonna stepping down, was inevitable. She was a grown woman with a family. She had spoken a ton about growing up and being more conscientious. Plus, while
I mean, to be fair, like, there's a certain point, you know, when you get older, like, you're gonna stop trying to be, like, I guess in her career, like, there has to be a point where you're like, okay, like, I should probably, like, stop, you know, with this fucking always going for controversy and fucking, you know, doesn't mean, like, you have to stop being, like, creative or, like, have people think, but, like, I don't know, at a certain point, it's like, you're getting older, like, what's all this energy going to, you know, like,
the
it's
Iraq
just...
War would have been correct in the long term. Remember where culture was right after 9/11. Careers were ruined if folks spoke out about the war.
I would never fault Madonna for taking an action to protect her family and her children during a dark time in American
That makes
culture.
sense.
I'm just saying, it's an admission that Madonna had changed.
I wanted to tell you that story because American Life, the album, feels like a compromise. An understandable compromise, again, given the climate, but a compromise nonetheless. Mirwais is back again behind the board, this time as the one true collaborator with Madonna. But compared to music, American Life brings in way more guitar, largely due to Madonna learning it at the time. If I really wanted to, I could describe this as a cyber folk album. But I won't say that, because I'm a saucy little boy. I will say though, if you are coming to this album expecting insightful commentary on early 2000s American politics, you will not find it. Let's check out the title track. Oh, that's an interesting music video.
Look, I can do the same thing.
American Life is kinda like music, except there isn't much life in it. The beat is drab, Madonna sounds bored, and best of all, she raps.
I'm drinking a latte. I get a double shot.
Okay, I kind of have to like this now, just because it dares to exist. Other songs I like, there's the other big single, Hollywood. I think if any song on here sells the idea of what American Life wants to be, it's this one. I like the hook on it. There's also I'm So Stupid.
Jesus Christ, fucking ear piercing.
With its gospel choir and ecstatic process too. Oh, and Die Another Day is on here, which feels like the 2003 equivalent of when an artist these days suddenly adds a big song to a new album on streaming. Some folks in recent years have come around on this album, not necessarily calling it a masterpiece, but just saying it's misunderstood. And look, I like some songs off of it, and I try to see what others see in this album, but when I do, I feel like I'm trying to be someone I'm not. So instead, I'll be true to myself and tell you, American Life started out strong on the charts, but before you get the Mission Accomplished banner out, it soon plummeted hard. Reviews were not kind either. By all accounts, it was considered a disappointment. She did try to promote it through the rest of 2003 though. Most famously, she performed Hollywood at the VMAs with Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. A solid performance. I don't know why people don't remember him. Oh, yep, and there it is, and there it is, and there it is, and there it is, and that is it. That day, a whole audience realized,
damn, women have mouths?
In the summer of 2004, Madonna went out on the Reinvention Tour, a tour that would later be captured in the documentary I'm Going to Tell You a Secret. It's sorta like Truth or Dare 2 with a mix of live performances and behind the scenes footage. The Kabbalah influence is strong here though. It's like watching Truth or Dare, but in between performances, a Jehovah's Witness visits you, or whatever the Kabbalah equivalent is. I suppose the one benefit of the film's release is that Madonna had all that space to get her spiritual side out. For album number 11, Madonna did try working primarily with Mirwais for a third time, but instead she turned to Stuart Price, director for her past two tours. And the goal this time was to fully embrace the dance music of the era, a non-stop playlist that could go all night. In November 2005, Madonna released Confessions on a Dance Floor, And if you turn to page 17 of your packets, you'll find the words "We're So Back" in giant, italicized, colorful font. Straight up, this is Madonna's best album since Ray of Light. Which maybe isn't that impressive because that was only 2 albums ago, but my point still stands. It's also the most disco album she's made since, God, her debut? It's an homage to Giorgio Moroder, Daft Punk, Pet Shop Boys, ABBA. Hell, ABBA even gets sampled on the lead single Hung Up. Only the second time ABBA has ever allowed their music to be sampled. And man, was it worth it. Beyond Hung Up, it's actually kind of hard for me to single out specific songs. Not because the rest aren't memorable, but because more than any other Madonna album so far, the pacing is the story.
Where's blood running to?
The flow from one song to another is simply the best out of any Madonna album. But in case anyone's about to fire a loaded gun at their screen, I will say that I liked Future Lovers, Jump, Sorry, and Get Together. Look up rebound in the dictionary and you'll find the definition of the word rebound. Confessions was a massive rebound after American Life. 10 million copies sold and Hung Up being one of her biggest hits ever. 6 months after the album, Madonna went out on the Confessions tour with Stuart Price as tour director, of course. The tour was well received. It even brought back some of that good old-fashioned outrage. The performance of Live to Tell had Madonna on a cross with a crown of thorns with footage of sick African children playing in tandem. Suffice it to say, the Vatican didn't care for it. The footage of African children wasn't unintentional. During this tour, she started a charity to raise money and awareness for orphans living in Malawi.
Oh, nice.
She even went as far as to adopt a Malawian child with Guy Ritchie. This led to a lot of controversy that I'm not really gonna dive into much because it's not really relevant to the music. But long story short, the adoption process started in late 2006 and finally went through in late 2008. Don't get it twisted. This was a cause Madonna cared about. She even put out a documentary about Malawians. I Am Because We Are. And I know Madonna documentary about struggling African country sounds like a recipe for utter disaster.
Yeah, true.
But the movie's actually respectful and well done. Now this is just disrespectful. In late 2006, Madonna did some voice acting for Arthur and the Invisible.
When I was a
kid, I made my aunt take me to this movie, and I was really upset because we missed the first half hour of it. I also once made my dad drive 45 minutes so we could see Dougal.
Jesus.
I have great taste in cinema. In 2007, Madonna signed a new 360 deal with Live Nation, which would cover touring, merchandise, and future albums. Her next album would be her final one with Warner Brothers. And that final Warner album dropped in April 2008, Hard Candy. So earlier I mentioned how Madonna's albums from Music onward showed her having one foot firmly in current pop music. Her pulse always on what pop was at the time. With 2 of the past 3 albums, that paid off incredibly well. But from here on out, it's not that these albums are bad, it's just that they don't show Madonna as a trailblazer. And that's okay. You could argue that Madonna's Imperial phase lasted an incredibly long time. In an industry that throws pop artists away the second they turn 30, the fact that she was putting out relevant work by age 50 is an achievement. She had undeniably made her mark. Just not what the albums we're about to talk about. The producers this time are Timbaland, Timberlake, and Tilliams. And I know we can say less positive things about 2 of those men these days, but remember, 2008. These 3 men were
the fucking Justin Timberlake, he's just like not even like performing. That is actually so funny.
2 of those men these days.
Was there? Wait, is this? Wasn't there literally a video? He literally put the mic down on the stage and just did nothing.
3 men so funny. Arguably responsible for the defining sound of 2000s pop. If you wanted to sound modern in 2008, you would go to those guys. So Hard Candy sounds like 2008. But the greatness of, say, Confessions was that it sounded timeless. It sounded fresh. Hard Candy is solid, but it is not fresh. It's a Zune 120. It's I Can See Russia From My House. That doesn't mean there are no good songs. Lead single 4 minutes, great duet with Mr. Timberlake. I know this song primarily from the end credits of the Get Smart movie. Remember that? Some other highlights include Candy Shop, Give It To Me, She's Not Me, Dance Tonight.
I think it's all Candy Shop.
Fine. Madonna making late 2000s pop. You won't have a problem chewing hard candy, you'll just wonder if it was worth the effort. Lukewarm reviews for Hard Candy, solid sales, 4 Minutes was a big hit, Honey Bunches of Dope. Later in August 2008, she kicked off the Sticky and Sweet Tour. Running for a little over a year, this remains one of the 20 or so highest
It's
grossing
getting
tours
sticky.
ever. On the personal side, she and Guy Ritchie divorced in December 2008, and she adopted another Malawian child in June 2009. Hey,
how many
it's
kids
been
does
a
she
bit
have
since
then?
We've talked about movies. Has Madonna been in anything recently?
Well, lucky for you,
No.
you're adopted. And Madonna was
Oh.
still working
What?
in film. But in October 2008, she made her debut behind the camera.
Filth and Wisdom, her directorial debut. And if her acting career is anything to go by, oh no, Filth and Wisdom isn't anything to rave over. The one thing I will say is that the lead singer of Golgo Bordello is in it, and he's really good. I don't think he did any more acting after this, which is a shame. Madonna wasn't done in the director's chair though. About 3 years later, we got W.E., a film about King Edward VIII and Wallace Simpson's love affair. The couple is most known these days for having lots of photos with Nazis. It wasn't well received, but during the making of W.E., we found out that Madonna was working on a new album. Another album that would be all about dancing. Instead of the 3 T's though, this time Madonna pulled from dance producers of the early 2010s. Martin Solveig, Benny Benassi and his brother Ale, even William Orbit again. And to promote this new album, Madonna played on one of the biggest stages in the US, the Super Bowl halftime show.
No
February
way.
2012. One thing I love about doing retrospectives is that I get to say sentences I would never say otherwise. For example,
At one point, Madonna does the dance from LMFAO's Party Rock Anthem.
a month after that show, Madonna released MDNA. Like Hard Candy before it, MDNA is solid, but it is not fresh. Since we're in 2012, this is Slender Men, or Overly Attached Girlfriend. I'll say this though, I don't think we give Me All Your Lovin' enough love. Maybe I'm biased because I really like the production for Martin Solveig's big hit Hello, but I think the sound really works with Madonna's voice, specifically the pre-chorus with just a dash of guitar. Also, here's another wild sentence.
This Madonna song has guest verses from Nicki Minaj and MIA.
I mean, Nicki Minaj, that's not super surprising. Many songs have Nicki Minaj verses. But what a wild pick to showcase MIA. MIA, I must pay respects. Bad Girls is one of the best pop songs of the century. Now go back to pushing anti-vax nonsense. She actually got sued by the NFL for flipping the bird during the halftime show. Good job blurring that, guys. In terms of other songs, I liked Girl Gone Wild, Some Girls, Love Spent has some cool banjo on it. I don't really have much else to offer. It's okay. Reviews for MDNA were once again lukewarm, sales were pretty good, and Gimme All Your Lovin' was a modest hit in the grand scheme. Madonna went back on the road again for the MDNA tour from May to December 2012. In early 2014, Madonna started work on a new album, but where past albums saw her working with 1 or 2 primary producers,
She's the
this new
only
album
one.
had everyone.
Oh, yeah, the exact opposite. Wow.
Yeah, everyone, that'd be cool, thank you. Avicii, Diplo, Kanye, Mike Dean, Ariel Reichschad, Toby Gad.
Jesus.
If they had a hit or were even hit adjacent in the mid-2010s, they were probably working with Madonna. In December 2014, Rebel Heart was released. Unofficially.
Wow, I know Madonna worked with Björk back in the 90s, but I never thought she would just outright steal from Björk like this.
Hey everyone, just wanted to pop up and say thank you for watching that part of the video, and please don't consider the fact that Volnakura leaked after Rebel Heart. Thank you. Yep, Rebel Heart
I have no idea what
well
you're talking
before
about.
its intended release date. This led to Madonna feeling what some might call mad. In response, Madonna and co. listed the album for pre-order the same month with 6 songs available right away. The full album would properly release in March 2015. Well, I'll say this, Rebel Heart does sound like 2015, but it's way more eclectic than the past 2 albums. Devil Pray has that country EDM sound that Avicii was famous for. Unapologetic Bitch has funny air horns. The second I heard Hold Tight, I thought it was 100% a Sia production, so I was shocked to see she's nowhere on it. However, the centerpiece of Rebel Heart is Bitch I'm Madonna. I think this is bad, but I don't believe it in my heart. It's just gaudy and garish, but also fun and silly. Also, oh my god, Sophie is a co-writer on here. That's awesome.
What?
Man, I miss Sophie.
That's crazy.
Shout out to guest artist Nicki Minaj, who is definitely on set in the music video and is definitely not just filming her bit in front of a green screen. Guys, look, it's Steve Kornacki, and he's definitely here in this video. I didn't just edit him in. He's definitely here in the video. I think what's clear now is that Madonna's output had become more of a mirror of what pop music was at the time of each album's release, as opposed to a door into a new version of pop music. In that way, she's similar to Maroon 5. Leave a comment if you like me comparing Madonna to Maroon 5. Reviews for Rebel Heart were a smidgen better than MDNA, but it went on to become her worst-selling album since Bedtime Stories. Most folks attributed that to the leak in 2014, but that didn't stop Madonna from going out on the road between September 2015 and March 2016. On the personal side, Madonna adopted 2 more kids in February.
Jesus, how many kids do we have at this point? Like,
moved to
damn.
Lisbon to get her first son into a football academy. The sights, sounds, and people of Lisbon soon became her inspiration for a new album. In July 2019, Madonna released her most recent album as of now, Madam X. Whew, this one is fascinating. What we've got here is low-key a successor to American Life. Hell, Mirwais is even back for this one. But this time, there's a strong balance of Latin pop and hip-hop that sounds like the most cringe thing you could ever imagine, and yet somehow it works. The main thing I can praise Madam X for is it's just interesting. There are tried and true sounds like disco on God Control, but there's also reggae on Future with Quavo, Batuque on Batuka with the Batuca Daris Orchestra, Fado on Crave, dark ballet halfway through mixes together vocoder and the famous Nutcracker melody, Bitch I'm Loca. Well, which one is it? It's way more interesting than a Madonna album at this point needs to be, and I think that's worthy of praise, along with the fact that I think the album pulls off its various sounds fairly well. However, all of that is frankly moot because this album features the best lyric in any Madonna song. Can't you hear outside of your Supreme hoodie the wind that's beginning to howl? That automatically makes this her best album.
She's tamed me like a wild horse.
Well, she is Madonna.
Since Madam X, updates about Madonna have been sporadic. She's worked with The Weeknd, Christine and the Queens, Dua Lipa. She sold her catalog to Warner. She went out on a greatest hits tour. The final stop in Rio de Janeiro was the most attended concert of all time. There was a Ray of Light remix album earlier this year. Plus, a Madonna biopic starring Julia Garner is in the works.
Really?
Except it isn't, except it is.
Really?
And in terms of new music, she is apparently working with Stuart Price on some sort of sequel to Confessions on a Dance Floor.
So no joke, I am actually finishing the edit on this video, and I literally went to go look up like an article about that new album, and look here, they literally just today announced it. Coming out next year. Yeah, isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Low-key breaking news. Hell yeah.
If you want to get into Madonna, her 4 main albums from the 80s are required listening, in my opinion. After that, I would recommend Ray of Light, Music, Confessions on a Dance Floor, and Madam X. If you have a favorite Madonna song, album-related thing, let me know what it is in the comments. And if you like deep dives into pop icons, check out my deepest dive on Michael Jackson.
All right. Really good video. As always, Mike the Snare making W fucking vids. I find it interesting. I think with all these deep DISCOG dives, excluding the Taylor Swift one I did, it's really interesting to see how all of these guys adapted to the new music landscape. Well, at least like in the 2000s and the 2010s for Prince and Madonna, right? Like, it's so interesting how like Madonna, like, it's crazy to think that Madonna, like, fucking powerhouse music, one of the most influential singers of all time making music with fucking Future, Playboy Cardi. It's just very, very interesting to me. It's not a bad thing either. It honestly, like, I respect the attempt, you know. And who knows? I haven't listened to the Future one. Maybe her song of Future is actually pretty good, but and then like her whole like adopting like kids is crazy. How many fucking kids does she have? I find, and then I don't know, like, was there? No, there wasn't. Was there really any sad part of this vid? Like, I know obviously Michael Jackson and Prince, like, they had their sad moments, right? But like Madonna, really, like, nothing really like crazy happened to her. I mean, I guess, like, you know, the whole AIDS thing. But yeah, no, I think. No. Why you staring at me like that, bro? Chill out. All right, guys, go subscribe to my channel as always. Pretty good video, no guy, but thanks for watching.